It is Tuesday the 2nd of July. We are at Third Comedy at the Washington. The very last Third Comedy. I've done it a few times by my guy Cedric, but I believe this will be the last ever night that Third Comedy will be on. So hopefully it'll be a good one. He said it might be packed, but we'll see. I am in the middle of performing 4 times in 5 days. I try to keep it somewhat regular, maybe about 3 a week with a bit of space and stuff like that. But occasionally we like to throw in, you intentionally, unintentionally fill up the calendar where it is busy. I could have had a 5th one in this week, but I just figured that'd be too much for me. I've been working on a lot of new stuff this year, as you know. And I think one of the things I've started to realise is actually how to work stuff properly for myself. I've really, I don't know, in the last couple of weeks I've just been like, because I've gone into this week thinking, you're going to spend all this time doing comedy and it's nice to throw it in because it kind of makes it quite intensive in terms of doing stand-up. And I try to find a decent balance to make it sustainable. But if I'm going to be gigging this much and spending this much time away, you've got to make it worth it. So yeah, working on some things. The problem I've got probably going into this week is that I guess I haven't prepared enough in some ways, so it's making me a little bit anxious, which is kind of strange because I guess that's kind of part of it. Maybe if you're not prepared, I don't know, shouldn't always feel great, it's new material. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. I think we've got some legs. I've started watching episodes of You Are What You Eat on YouTube just to get a real idea. That show is far out, boy. I really should watch that more just so I can get some jokes and see how we get on. Because I think one of the things I'm going to do with this bit is try to make it a little bit more, I guess, not topical, but, you know, talk about things, cultural references, let's say, instead of just straight up jokes. I need to start drawing from other sources, doing my research, which was something that I was taught during my comedy courses, that if you're going to make some jokes, it's actually quite good to do research. It doesn't have to just come from your mind. You know, you're actually encouraged to go out and find out real information to then make jokes about, if that's what you want to do. So yeah. One other thing is I've had a bit of a revelation over the last couple of weeks, and I think I'm starting to have ideas towards my own kind of like show, I guess, half an hour split bill kind of thing. A lot of people do that. I just want to say there was absolutely no way that I'm going to rush this. I'm not going to be like, oh, let me get ready for some kind of fringe or whatever. Even next year, it's literally just about where I want my material to go. I think it's good to have targets. It's good to have aims. It's good to have somewhere to drive towards. Not necessarily from, all right, I want to get spots here. Because if I make half an hour to an hour, the only person who's going to give me spots to do that is me. And that's not necessarily how I want to do my stand-up comedy. I want people to give me spots. I want to get paid. I want to do well in it, so I just work to the minutes available. But if I have some kind of ambition, eventually we're going to be doing more time. And I think I'm going to develop ideas around what it was like for me working at Greenpeace. I don't know why I'm saying it now, because nothing in this vlog, and I mean nothing, so that got a bit dramatic. Yeah, there's not much going to be in this around going towards that particular idea, but I think kind of on the periphery, a lot of the themes and ideas that I've been actually talking about and that's in my set really would tie in really well. And Greenpeace was such a monumental time in my life, complicated in a lot of ways, and really challenged my thoughts and values in a lot of ways, and strengthened kind of the idea about who I am. And I think I'm ready to start talking about it. So yeah, we'll see, but I'm really looking forward to tonight. There should be a number of people there that I know, including my boy Dan Cohen, sorry for misspeaking. And we'll see. We'll have a good time regardless.
Who else I have Holly Fox from Elliot Dallas.
It's a beautiful place.
Alright.
phone is not good for our people, alright? Come on. What's going on? Is it important?
Yes.
What? Is it serious?
Yes, it's very important.
What is it?
I don't
I think we got to know. No?
Yeah, it's private.
Is it alright? Yeah? Is it private? Can it be outside? No? Okay, that's fine. My name is Chris Lally. You know, it's a shame that actually third comedy stopping because like I started doing comedy nights like this almost just over 2 years ago. You know, which is crazy to think because actually back then I actually had hope. Hopefully it's alright. I've killed the mood. I apologise. I went to the Thank God for that. No, I don't know what it is. Don't assume it's bad news. It could be good news. Could be definitely not good news, is it? That's all right. But I'll carry on. Yeah, no. So the thing is, right? You know, it's been going alright stand-up comedy. I've been getting some good feedback here and there. Obviously not here, in a lot of other places, but you know, the thing is, right, people be coming up to me after gigs and saying, Chris, I really like your comedy, but it's just a bit too black. I'll be honest, you know, the thing is like, what am I supposed to do? Joke like I'm a white person? You know, I don't like skiing. What if it is a quiche? Or paella? No. The thing is like, I remember the first time someone came up to me after a gig and told me my comedy was too black. I almost spat the fried chicken out my mouth. No. I mean, usually that gets a laugh. What's wrong?
Nothing.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not a good joke or just me shit? I feel like I'm letting the people die now. Does anyone in here? Does anyone know who Joe Wicks is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Joe Wicks. But for those that don't know, right, he got really famous during the pandemic, right, for teaching a nation online how to get healthy to speak English poorly, right? And you know, he got into some trouble recently because he put out this tweet that said that processed food is the reason why kids are getting ADHD, which obviously we know is nonsense. Yeah, it was a COVID vaccine. Obviously, no. But I grew up a fat kid. Now I'm a fat adult. I'll be honest, I did not see that coming. Like when you're a fat kid, right, all people tell you is you'll grow out of it. Grow out of it? I grew around it. You know what I mean? Now when I tell people how much I weigh, they say, oh, you hold it well, Chris. What is that supposed to mean? That's something you tell a camel. Not a human being. It's got feelings. You know? The thing is, like when I tell people I'm fat, people are generally quite nice and say, oh, you're not fat, Chris. Like, do you guys think I'm fat?
No.
Shouldn't have asked. Usually, people say, oh, you're not fat, Chris. I actually think that's the worst level of fat to be, when no one notices. Usually. Obviously. I mean, look, I'm just holding on some weight, right? I'm just holding on to that Christmas weight. It's a size 12. But the thing is, right, I want to be recognized. You're not even going to like this, but I'm going to say it. What can I do? I'm here to say what I've got to say. The thing is, I want to be recognised as a fat person, right? Because of things like being late. Like, you might get this, right? Because as a black person, you know? As a black person, you get quite nervous when you're late because you think people are going to judge you for being late because you're black. When you're fat and late, people understand. Does anyone know that show You Are What You Eat?
Yeah.
Has anyone heard of it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there was a show in the early 2000s where this woman used to shame people. What a time to be alive. We can actually call a pig a pig. No, you know, because it was a show where this person, this little Scottish woman, would go to people's houses and she would just tell them how much they're eating and how wrong it is, right? And like she'd go through their fridge, and they must have set this up because they went to this one person's house. They went to the fridge, they pulled a drawer out, and it was just a drawer full of curly whirlies. Like that must have been a mistake, right? But during the show, she would put all the food out of the person of what they would eat during that week, and I thought, fuck me, that's the show for me. Right? She could definitely put on a feast. Like, just to shame them, you know. They cancelled the show though when they had a cannibal one, and they put dead body on the table. I feel like I can get a laugh there, but probably not tonight. The Euros, anyone know? Have we got any football fans in the house? Yeah. I'm a big football fan, mate. Big football fan. Yeah, trying to become a medium-sized football fan. No. But you might have heard about this, right? The Premier League, like, they released this list of the most influential black people in football, right? So, you know, really good stuff. So players like Rashford and Saka and the young one that missed. Yeah. Guess what they called it? They called it the blacklist. No. Outside of being massively offensive, I just think it lacks creativity. Like what is idiots going to come up with next? The most influential Slovakians in football. They call it the checklist. That's right. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, Chris, thank you very much. That wasn't too bad, I think. It was an interesting night. I was second up, quite busy, but usually there'd be a lot of bringers. This time it was a lot of my man Gabby Lopez's friends, who Cedric has had to help one the night. I have to say though, I must say that this is weird. It was a weird one because it was kind of like an international crowd. I mean, there was barely anyone from the UK, which isn't a problem, don't worry about that. It's just more of a translation issue sometimes when it comes to comedy. Obviously there was a bit where there was the young girl who was on her phone for large periods of the first act and then throughout the MC, so I just felt like I had to talk about it, and I think to some degree at the time maybe it felt like it took away from what was going on. You know, it gave me a bit of a battle, which it probably did to some degree. But I don't think, like looking back at it, I don't think it was that bad, if I'm being honest. I felt at the time a couple of things made me feel like, maybe I made a bit of a misstep here, because it was still a bit of a hard set. But you know, I didn't melt, just carried on. And I think that if in the past I would have probably had melted a little bit and maybe felt, I don't know, like I couldn't carry on. But I actually remember consciously thinking when she got up and went to leave, I'm just going to stop now, basically, and see if I can salvage it. There were a lot of her friends, so I think maybe they might have taken some of my jokes to heart, but I think I did an alright job. I guess I sound like it, right, talking about it this much for almost 2 minutes straight. But yeah, it was a bit of a battle out there. I'm feeling a bit weird gig-wise this week, trying to get some stuff working and just kind of having a bit of a battle. So yeah, getting in my feels a little bit. And I think, I don't know, I've had some good gigs lately. I've had some ones that haven't gone so well. I've had some feedback here and there, and I think that the thing that is prominent in my mind is that to do this, I guess, if you're interested and you're watching this, you have to be somewhat secure with what you are doing, and I guess who you are in some sense, because you're going to be pushed and pulled. You're going to have people that tell you are great and that you're doing well. You're going to have people that are literally going to do the exact opposite and say that you're not worthy of even stepping foot on their stage. You know, I don't think I've been asking to go on live in the Apollo, but there you go. And I think that, you know, that's probably where I'm at now in terms of trying to just make sure that my progress is at a place where I feel happy with, which isn't always the case. It is a battle, it is a grind, but also just trying not to be too affected. I think, yes, you need to get the feedback from the audience, because to work on our craft, it seems to be the only way to make it any good. You know, you can't just, I guess you can post it online to a degree if that's what you do, but really you do need, you know, interaction from audience members or other people or external factors. With that means that you're susceptible to being pushed and pulled and having your own feelings kind of, I don't know, put out of place with what sits well with you. But you shouldn't let that happen. And you know, I feel like I did a bit of that today, and I was able to push through. Didn't feel it was my best, because it was not my best, but it was as good as I could have done, considering, if I can be kind to myself. Maybe that's what I tell myself, to stay even. But yeah, good night, a lot of fun, a lot of people I knew. Shout out to Louis and Dan and a bunch of other people I know that were at the night. We are creeping up to 100 vlogs. I don't know what one this will be, 91, 92, but we are continuing on to the next one.